Why would someone swallow tapeworm eggs? Or cut off their own toes? Welcome back to Sandy's Timeline. Today we're diving into The Ugly Stepsister, a dark, twisted take on the Cinderella story. Let's get into it. And as always, consider this your trigger warning. The movie opens with a young girl named Elvira, lost in a romantic daydream as she reads a love poem, imagining herself with the prince before her mom slaps her back to reality. Elvira is traveling with her mother and younger sister Alma. Rebecca is a widow on a mission. She plans to marry an older, wealthy widower named Otto, not for love, but for status and security. Otto already has a daughter, the graceful and privileged Agnes. Rebecca's marriage is her way into a better life. On the night of the wedding, as the newly blended family celebrates over dinner, tragedy strikes. Otto suddenly collapses from a heart attack and dies right there at the table. A few days later, tensions are still high. Elvira brings a meal to Agnes, hoping to comfort her. But things quickly spiral into a heated argument. That's when Agnes drops a brutal truth. Her father, Otto, was actually penniless and only married Rebecca for her money. A few days later, a royal messenger arrives with big news. The prince is hosting a grand ball at the castle, inviting all noble, untouched women to attend after the passing of 4 full moons. Worried about their household finances, Rebecca decides to marry off Elvira to the prince, though she's aware that her daughter doesn't fit in the conventionally beauty standards and has little chance of winning him over, especially if Agnes were to compete for the prince's attention. Desperate to make Elvira more desirable, Rebecca subjects her to a series of brutal and primitive beauty procedures. First, the braces come off. Then comes the real horror. A nose job. The surgery is performed without anesthesia. Elvira is fully awake as the surgeon takes a chisel and hammer to her face, breaking her nose while she screams in agony. As is custom, every young woman invited to the ball must first attend the kingdom's elite finishing school, a place meant to prepare them for courtly life and impressing the royal family. After weeks of training, the school selects one girl to take the lead in a royal performance, with 2 others chosen for supporting roles. It's a rare chance to shine directly in front of the prince. Forced to wear a mask due to her healing face, Elvira is immediately singled out, pushed to the back of the class while Agnes gets favored to the front. Nevertheless, she overlooks all that and moves on. Then the day comes when the list of the selected girls comes out, and we learn that Rebecca buys Elvira a spot, and the teacher has no problem belittling her in front of the class since he never liked her since day 1. Distraught, she visits the head of the school who gives her tapeworm eggs to swallow in order to lose weight. We start to see her consume meals uncontrollably since she's always hungry. One night, Elvira discovers Agnes having intercourse with Isak, a stable man, and reports it to Rebecca. Disgusted, Rebecca makes Agnes a servant, and the family starts calling her Cinderella. Elvira's initial admiration for Agnes turns to resentment, as she feels that Agnes did not have to work for her looks or talent. As the royal ball approaches, Elvira becomes malnourished as her tapeworm grows in size and her hair starts falling out when brushed by Agnes. Elvira's final procedure is eyelash extensions. As she sits nervously in the chair, she catches a glimpse of another woman with long, fluttering lashes and thinks, for a moment, that the outcome might be worth it. But then she notices that one of the nurse's eyes is completely ruined, a hollow, scarred mess, and Elvira's nerves spike. She realizes that the extensions were manually sewn in. With a needle, there's no anesthetic, just a thin layer of painkiller that the doctor lightly dabs onto Elvira's eyelids. But as she winces, she catches the doctor casually sniffs the leftover painkiller for his own pleasure before picking up the needle. Each stitch is a fresh wave of pain. Fast forward to the dress fitting with her mother. The dress seller gives Elvira a wig since she's been losing hair. He notices Agnes's beauty and makes inappropriate advances on her. She spits on him and on the floor in disgust, which Rebecca instructs her to clean up. When they return, Elvira sees Agnes with a ball gown and angrily destroys it. As Agnes cries over her father's rotting corpse, her biological mother comes in white to give her shoes and warns her that the carriage will turn back into a pumpkin by midnight. Silkworms fix Agnes's dress. At the ball, Elvira attracts Prince Julian's interest, but his attention is quickly stolen by a veiled Agnes. Elvira escapes to another room and vomits up tapeworm eggs. Later, both women return home. Aware that Agnes accidentally left behind a slipper that Julian will use to identify his dream woman, Elvira forces Agnes to hand over the other shoe. When she discovers that her feet are too large for the slippers, Elvira begins severing her toes. She is found by Rebecca and Alma. As she cries in pain, Rebecca notices that Elvira has actually cut off the wrong foot, so she calmly sedates Elvira and completes the task. The next morning, a wounded Elvira hears the trumpets announcing the prince's arrival. She crawls on the floor, unable to walk, and falls down a flight of stairs, breaking her nose and chipping her tooth, only to discover that Agnes and the prince successfully found one another, making her efforts wasted. Defeated, Elvira takes an antidote after Alma begs her and vomits up the tapeworm. The sisters choose to leave their mother so they can live free of her influence. Thanks for watching Sandy's Timeline. If the story stuck with you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and let me know in the comments. Was Elvira the villain, or just a victim of a cruel crown? Until next time, stay sharp and don't believe everything the fairy tales tell you.